What's up, guys? So I'm up here at the shop, and I figured I'd stop by here right fast and kind of let you guys know what's going on with, let you guys know everything that's going on with Nomanners. So right now, I got the transmission out of it, or actually the transmission is in it, but I had the transmission out of it. We've been making some small changes. I can kind of show you guys right here. So as you can see, that's pieces of the trans. See if I can put the input shaft. And there's the input shaft. Basically, what we've been doing is trying to fix the issue with being locked out of second gear. And I thought that it might have possibly been the clutch disc right here. The last time this happened, it's a mess in here with all the parts, but the last time this happened with the spec right here, it locked me out a second, and the reason being is because it was loose. Like, it started separating, as you can see. So I figured that the same problem occurred with the ACT, but that is not the case. So the clutch is actually somewhat still good. It's got a lot of life left on it, but everything's still intact. Springs aren't loose or anything, so that was not the case. Basically, what ended up happening, I don't have any light, but well, let me see what I can do about that right fast. Still not enough. So basically, what ended up happening was, I think I had a bolt, the back bolt for the trans, I'm pretty sure came loose and fell out on the track. And basically, every time I pushed the clutch in, the trans was basically separating itself from the engine. In return, we ended up, I don't know exactly where it is. Well, here it is. We ended up breaking the input shaft bearing, which is this thing right here. As you can see, it got pretty hot and snapped off, and kind of sort of welded itself in there a little bit. It still comes, this piece comes out. I just stuck it in there so I can keep track of where it was at, but it ended up melting the plastic down here, and around there too. So I don't know exactly how that happened, but that's what happened regarding a second gear issue. In return, I ended up letting Jared take home the gear set. He took it apart. He ended up replacing everything that had to do with second gear. So the actual second gear itself was replaced. The slider was replaced. The blocker ring was replaced. I'm not 100% sure if the synchronizer was replaced, but everything that had to do with second gear was replaced. Not with anything aftermarket. It's still all OEM stuff. So it's an OEM second gear, OEM blocker, OEM slider. It was just in a little bit better condition than what mine was, being that we thought that, could have possibly been the reason why the car kept locking me out of second gear. So I did, however, manage to get, or in 2023 with a PB, we did get the car to go 1032. I believe it was at 138 mile an hour, if I'm not mistaken. And it didn't take 42 pounds of boost this time. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe the car was on about 31, 32, 33 pounds of boost, somewhere around there. And like I said, we were able to, get the PB out of the car. On that last pass, it was kind of a, screw it, I'm gonna just jam it in second. And it happened to go in, and like I said, we went PB. So I was happy to end the year off with the PB. Granted, the car can go faster with a little bit of modifications to the suspension. I can kind of show you guys right here. So basically, I don't have really good suspension on this car. These are the eBay Emusa coilovers. There is no dampening adjustment whatsoever. The only adjustment that you have is the camber adjustment. So it was really hard for me to, get the car to leave right. The 60 foot, the best 60 foot this car has ever cut was a 164. It has gone a 168, but that's when it made a lot less horsepower. It was a little bit easier to control getting the car to leave without necessarily blowing the tires off a lot. So after a lot of thought, I ended up buying, and they're sitting right here, I ended up buying a set of used BC coilovers. That way now I will have dampening adjustment all the way around. I'll be able to set the suspension up like it's supposed to be set up to get the car to not upset the tire and to get the car to not upset the chassis. So we should be able to get a lot more better 60 foot times out of this thing. Like I said, man, I've been able to run the times that I've been running with, 175, 177, 60 foots in this thing. It always consistently went 17 something. That's not anything to be proud of in a front wheel drive car. Ideally, 14, 15, 16, a low 16, 60 foot is, kind of the goal for a front wheel drive car. So I'm hoping that this thing, when we get it back out in the next couple of weeks, that it will be able to, at least go bottom 16, 60 foots. I would be very happy if this thing ended up going a 15, 60 foot. So that's kind of the goal for the car. I don't really have anything else to kind of sort of do to it. I'm not changing anything. It's still going to have the same turbo, the same manifold that Zach Millet custom built for this thing. I did end up changing the clutch disc. I took the 6-puck out like you saw. We put an ACT 4-puck unsprung in here. Just, had the transmission down, might as well go ahead and just change it. So we did do that. I'm also thinking about wiring up the scramble button on the boost leash. I haven't used it yet. I'm trying to accomplish something that hasn't been done. I've already accomplished something that hasn't been done with the stock motor. But I'm trying to get this thing to get down to the 10-O's. That's the goal for 2024. I know this thing has a teen in it. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Not trying to toot my own horn or nothing like that, but the car makes decent amount of power. Back in the day, a lot of people would say, the SRT4 was only really good for about, stock motor was only good for about 450, 420 horsepower. So I'm here to tell you that, my car makes well over that, or at least where I run it at, boost wise, it makes more than that. If I had to say, just based off of ET where it is, how much it makes, my guess would probably be somewhere around 5 to 550, somewhere in between there. When it was on the dyno at Nigel's, it only made 366 horsepower with a blown head gasket. And even then, the car would have still probably been, I would say probably 380, 390, somewhere around there on his dyno. And if you know Nigel, you know his dyno is a little bit off. So, dyno numbers don't really matter. ET, usually kind of can tell you what a car makes depending on what kind of car it is. Obviously, if it's a diesel truck, it'd be a little bit different. But around the ET where we're running, the mile an hour that this thing traps, you can kind of, put together in your head exactly how much power this thing makes. So that's one thing that this car has going for it. And, I'm kind of really happy that this car has done the things that it has done. I started this thing out as a daily driver, stock turbo car, didn't have any modifications done, just a straight pipe exhaust, and that was it. So and at that time, I never really beat on the car like that. There might have been a couple second gear pulls here and there, but I never really drove this thing hard when I did drive it on the street. And I drove it on the street for 2 years. After I moved to North Carolina and, got around the people that I was good friends with for a long time, put this thing on big turbo kit. Once I got my Jeep, my daily, took it off the street, and it immediately became a track car. And it's been a track car since. So, granted, this thing has a really, really good tune-up in it. It's tuned by the best, Brutal Speed and Tuning by Nigel. I beat on this car when it's on the track, and that's about it. So the times that it runs, I can't really tell you that the motor is healthy or not. Obviously, it has to be healthy. But, I haven't taken the bearings out or none of that crap. It's a stock motor car. It does have head studs in it. I blew the head gasket. I think when the car went 1090 something, 1091, at 131 mile an hour. It blew the head gasket on that pass. So it still has 200 something thousand miles on it. But like I said, it has a really, really good tune-up in it. It's tuned by the best person in the world that can tune these cars. So, if it happens to let go this year, then it just lets go this year. But I'm definitely going to turn some stuff on, and we're going to try to get this thing to pick up a little bit more mile an hour. That would be a big, big goal for me, is to go 10-0. Later on in the year, when the air gets good, if the motor's still together, then, like I said, we might try some stuff later on to see if we can possibly get this thing to go at 999. The best mile per hour that this car has done was 141 mile an hour, 141.11 mile an hour, and the ET on that pass, it only went 1058. So the front half obviously was crap, but like I said, it did go 141 mile an hour. So I don't have the stock motor record anymore. That now belongs to my buddy Andre. But I do, however, have the fastest mile per hour for a stock motor SRT4. So I'm the only one who's ever been able to get a stock motor SRT4 to go over 140, not just once, 3 times. So I'm really happy with this car. Every now and then it can be a pain in the butt. But, like I said, we're going to get this thing put back together. And after we get it put back together, I think on March 2nd is when I should have it out testing. I think IFO is on the 24th, if I'm not mistaken, at Rockingham. So I'm kind of leaning towards jumping in the 11.5 class, the index class. And I know, this thing is obviously a full second faster than 11.5, but, I can't compete with the big dogs in front wheel drive. I can't compete with 1,300 horsepower Civics. There's just no place for this car in that class. So I'm thinking about dropping back down to the 11.5 and, kind of bracket racing this thing, seeing, how this car would stack up against competition in that class. I don't plan on turning this thing down at all, because you never know who else has, power on tap. So gotta always be prepared for, anything that pulls up next to you in the lane. So, at that time, You know, my goal or key would be to, you know, be the first to the eighth, or, you know, be as far ahead as possible, and then obviously coast. So in the second, I'm going to make a couple of short passes, kind of figuring out where I need to let out at with the car for the 11.5 index. And then after I get that kind of dialed in, knowing where I need to let out at, then I plan on making, you know, maybe 2 or 3 full quarter mile hits with the new suspension on, and seeing where this thing, you know, seeing what this thing can do after we get all of that stuff done. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I didn't intend for this video to be this long, but just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on what was going on with the car, and you know, making sure you guys keep in touch. So if you haven't already, like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, as I will be doing a lot more updates on this thing. I plan on bringing it home out of the storage in the next few weeks, so I'll be able to do a little bit more content with it, you know, being right next to me at the house. So stay tuned. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. If you want to know anything, comment down below. Is there anything you would like to know? Just ask. I tend to reply pretty often. But until next time, guys, stay straight, be easy. Peace.